Hey guys, it's Scott here with another fragrance review. Thanks to my friend Tim Walker who went ahead and tagged me. Today we are doing videos inspired by Sean Connery and the character James Bond. What we're going to do is we're going to pick some of our favorite fragrances that we think are associated with the character of James Bond. So in honor of Sean, we're going to go ahead and dive into this video, and I'm going to pick the fragrances that I think best suit each actor who has played James Bond. First actor that we have is Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig is one of my all-time favorite James Bond. You know him from such movies as Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Skyfall, and Spectre. When I think of Daniel Craig, I think of his hunting ranch from Skyfall. And I think of Pelicans, The Tragedy of Lord George. You guys know that fragrance because it has that beautiful gold deer head on it. This fragrance is considered to be rich, noble, and deceptive. This came out in 2016 by master perfumer Alberto Morillas. The ingredients are woodsy with a brandy note, tonka, and amber. This fragrance will cost you somewhere around $300. Next, let's do Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan was born in Louth, Ireland. You guys know him from such films as Goldeneye, The World Is Not Enough, and so on. Pierce Brosnan is not one of my favorite James Bonds, probably because of the script he had to work with. A lot of his films seem to be a little bit on the silly side and a little bit too campy for me. But with that said, I definitely think he played the part and looked the part and was definitely suave and debonair. Creed Green Irish Tweed is like a perfectly tailored suit worn by a confident man at the peak of their profession. The ingredients in this is lemon verbena, iris, violet leaf, ambergris, and sandalwood. And this will cost you somewhere around $400 and on up. Number 4 is Timothy Dalton. Timothy Dalton was born in Devonshire. You may know him from such films as License to Kill and Living Daylights. This is probably my third favorite Bond. I really liked the way he portrayed Bond. He was a little more serious than some of the others. It was a little more campy before it got to Timothy, and he took a more serious tone. And I think I really appreciate that about Timothy Dalton. But the fragrance that comes to mind is Ormond Jane Black Gold. Black Gold is fearless, cool, and provocative, enough to tempt one into the forbidden waters. The ingredients in Black Gold are bergamot, lemon, mandarin, clary sage, juniper berry, orchids, rose, and jasmine, oud, sandalwood, patchouli, vetiver, vanilla, moss, cedar, and amber. And you really got to be daring and bold to wear this because of the orchid and the oud. This fragrance will cost you somewhere around $500 and up. All right, the next actor we're going to talk about is Roger Moore, who was born in Stockwell, England. You may know him from such films as Live and Let Die, Moonraker, A View to a Kill. And the first fragrance that comes to mind when I think of Roger Moore is Atkinson's 24 Old Bond Street. Atkinson's was established in London in 1799. This is an extremely English cologne with tremendous personality. The ingredients are juniper, cardamom, oak casked whiskey, rose, black tea, cedar, and ambergris. What I want to talk about is George Lazenby. He was born in South Wales, Australia. You may know him from his film as Her Majesty's Secret Service. And the fragrance that I most associate with him, because George Lazenby was born in Australia, is Pacific Rock Moss by Goldfield and Banks. Inspired by the southern coastline and the fresh sea that speaks of summer days diving into the azure sea. The ingredients are moss, lemon, sage, geranium, and cedar. And finally, we're going to go ahead and do the best of the best, the king of bonds. We're going to do Sean Connery. I love Sean Connery for his presence in his films. He was born in 1930 and died in 2020, and he was born in Edinburgh. You know him from such films as Goldfinger and Dr. No. Since Sean is one of the best, I figured Florist 89, a personal favorite to Ian Fleming, the author and producer of Bonds. Plus, a few of the products have appeared in Dr. No, so I figured it was a good reason to pick Florist 89. This is blended with lavender and neroli. It gives this a gentleman's classical aspect, worn with spicy nutmeg, woody accords, and of course sandalwood, cedar, vetiver, which is the quintessential English gentleman's fragrance. And that's why I picked Florist 89. Those are my fragrances for all the James Bonds. You know, what are your favorite fragrances out of all these? Let me know in the comments if you had a different one or you thought of a different one. Thank you guys for joining me. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button. Remember to always be yourself as long as yourself smells good.